around this country and in other countries, but maybe one of the more incredible things about Lynn Allen is she began her career in the network marketing or multi-level marketing industry as a single mom. And I've heard her story in person, brings tears to your eyes, but really almost at a destitute level when she began. And she's now thriving. She has a residual income that allows her to travel and see the world. She lives there in Orlando, Florida, and she just breathes fresh breath air into everybody all the time. And Bill, have you seen her? She been able to get back live with us?
I do not see her yet, Tom, but they're coming on like really quick. We're up to about 150 already.
Yeah, I guess it only allows a certain amount of people in at a time because I'm watching it climb just steadily. But we're approaching back to 200 locations now back with us. And I mean, just the ones I'm able to see. I'll call out some names that are waiting, but we got Chris and Connie and Carol and Bob Schreck and Beverly and Benny and Anel Hauer and Deborah and Darush and Miss Moxley and Diana Foley and Diane and Don Newman and Doug Fitzgerald and even Delsey and John Creech down there in Greenville, South Carolina, all snowed in. Ethel and Fran Shaley, and that list just goes on and on and on. The way my system's set up now, I can't even see them all. I have to scroll down the screen. But John Creech and Ivansa and Ian Chandler's been able to get back on with us now, so I know Ian and Fred are good out there in Salt Lake City if we end up having to skip straight to them. Fred and Bay up there in New York. And Fred, I was just watching. I've got two TVs going. I've got my weather channel going off to the side of the broadcast center here, and they totally missed the forecast in New York City. Y'all are supposed to miss this, and it looks like you guys are going to end up with more than anything now. I saw they banned all travel, and you guys are going to get in excess of 2 feet up there in the New York City area. But that list, Gracie Turner there in Pensacola and Gloria and Doug Fitzgerald, and I'll scroll down my screen here and keep on calling them out. Have you been able to see Lynn Allen get back with us yet?
I am. Hey, Lynn, can you hear me okay?
Lynn, if you on the bottom left of your computer, Lynn, you'll see a little speaker. Just hit that speaker if you're trying to talk, and you go ahead and turn your camera on too. We've got you promoted up.
Yeah, Todd, she is unmuted at our end right now.
Can you hear me?
Yay!
Yes, we got you, Lynn.
Okay, but it's saying my camera's unavailable, so you're going to have to promote that because before we crashed, my camera was working.
Okay, try that, Lynn.
Okay, this is better. Okay, hang on a second. Let's see if it's going to work. Camera unavailable. Oh, there. I think I'm in here.
Yes, Lynn, we got you.
I'm looking at a slide that says fashion advice. What is that?
Yeah, we went ahead and pulled Dr. Fred's PowerPoint up before we got back to 250 people and froze us up again. So you're going to just talk around Dr. Fred's PowerPoint. There we go. And Woodson, you should be able to talk now. Are you back live with us? Woodson still can't get her computer to work. So, Lynn, I don't know if you were on when I was introducing you, but I was telling you, you are just an inspiration to so many. The first time I heard your story about starting in this industry as a single mom and where you started at, and now watching you, what you've been able to accomplish, what you're still accomplishing, the way you feed into people and motivate people, you're just not just a superstar in this company, but you're a superstar worldwide in the network marketing industry. And we thank you so much for hopping on this broadcast today. We're going to sign off and turn it over to you and let you teach us how you do it.
Okay, I'm good. Thank you, Todd. Hang on one second. There. Now I'm here. This has been like amazing. And I know we just had this little glitch where we went down, but the technology of being able to do this is so exciting to me because as you know, we're all coming there. And I want to share how committed that ARIIX is to us. And I have to share this because this made me laugh so hard. But I was back and forth talking to you guys about making the trip, and we're watching the snow, and it's getting closer and closer. And I'm texting with Ken, and I'm thinking, this isn't looking good. And he said, well, I called Mark, and he said, we're good. So, the day before we're supposed to leave, all of a sudden we're getting texts that our flights have been canceled from Atlanta to Greensboro, no flights. So I get on the phone, and I call Mark, and I said, Mark, our flights are canceled going into Greensboro. And, that doesn't look good. I said, is Fred and Ian going through Atlanta also? Because if they are, there's going to be a problem. He said, oh yeah, they are. Thanks for the heads up. I'm going to get on the phone right now, and I'm going to call a rental company, and I'm going to rent a truck. And so he said it's only a 5 to 6 hour drive from Atlanta up to Greensboro, and so they can just hop in a truck. So if you can get to Atlanta, and I said, Mark, I am really committed to ARIIX. I love ARIIX. There's a lot that I will do for this company, but flying to Atlanta to hop in a pickup truck with Ian and Fred to drive 6 hours in a blizzard is not one of them. So the whole thing was hilarious to me, and it just showed the passion and where, how badly they wanted this. And, I just want to commend all of you for pulling this off, for doing everything in your power to give us an event, even though the circumstances are just absolutely crazy. Like, who gets this much snow in North Carolina and everybody else? So I'm just praying for all the people up there that they're safe. And I'm just happy to be on this fuse room, even though it took me an hour to figure out how to get in. But I'm here, so I'm happy about that. So I want to talk about something that Ian said, because as I was listening to Ian talk, I was remembering back when I first started, and I got so emotional listening to him, because I remember how I was introduced to network marketing and how broke I was. And I'm living in an apartment in Central Florida, and I didn't have 10 cents in the bank. And I didn't have any way that I could think of that I could ever stop working, number one, or number two, that I could make my life any better, because I didn't have an education. I mean, I barely got out of high school. And so I don't have a career. I just had odd jobs my whole life, single mom, food stamps, trying to raise my kids. And all of a sudden, I find myself in my 50s living in this apartment, and I'm wondering how I am ever going to stop working. And it was so profound to me when I learned about network marketing, because actually I'm one of those people who got some products in the mail, kind of like what Ian was talking about. You come in, you take some great products, and you feel like maybe you'll share them. And, so my journey was one of evolving, if you will. So I wasn't in good health. I was 50 pounds overweight. I was also a chain smoker at the time. I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is about being real and showing the space that I was in when I began this journey. So I'm 50 pounds overweight. I'm dead broke. I'm 50 years old. I'm living in an apartment. I got some supplements in the mail. I started taking them, and I started feeling better. And the minute I started feeling better, of course, people notice, and then I want to run my mouth. And my daughter is saying, you know what, Mom, you might as well be a rep. And I'm like, I don't want to be a network marketer. I didn't even know really what network marketing was. I just was quite sure I didn't want to be one because of the way everybody reacted whenever I said it. I just thought, no, I don't want to do that, but I'll just share products with people. I'll just go out there and try and help people and make them feel better, because I am a caregiver and I do want to save the world. And I'm always about fixing people and making their lives better. And so I started
This
sharing
conference
products.
is being recorded.
And as I'm sharing the products, I'm realizing that, people are thanking me, they're hugging me, and I have this good feeling inside that says, wow, Lynn, you're doing so awesome. And, I didn't know I was doing what network marketers do. I had no clue, but I started sharing the products, and I led strictly from the products. I mean, I would drive 30 miles for somebody that had a joint pain so that I could fix them. I mean, that's how off balance I was with this, but it felt really good at the same time. So it took me 4.5 years of playing around with this before I finally decided that I was going to attend an event. And it was an annual convention. And I went to this event because I wanted to see what the people look like who were making the money. And I think mainly I went because I wanted to prove that I couldn't make any more, because I had never done anything in my life other than just exist, paycheck to paycheck. Never had I even had a dream of what I now live. And so I went to this event, And at this event, I was looking at the people who were making the big money, the people who were standing on the stage. And I realized for the first time when I attended this event that they were people just like me. They weren't, all business people with, master's degrees and dressed in three-piece suits and, up there with big educations. They were plumbers, they were housewives, they were ordinary people who had achieved extraordinary things in their life because they chose this as their vehicle. And it was then, for the first time, that I realized that maybe, just maybe, this was my answer to create freedom in my life. And so what I did is, after listening to everybody there, I walked around and I looked for somebody who was at a high level in this company. And I asked them to give me 2 pointers because I didn't have anybody to help me. I didn't have an upline. I didn't have a coach. I didn't have anybody. And so I asked this person to give me 2 pointers, for me to get where you are, what do I have to do? And he said, number one, work on yourself first. Well, I had no idea what that meant. I thought I was fine. I didn't know what work on myself meant. I just wrote it down that I needed to work on myself. And number two, he said, if you're going to build this, build it quickly because building it slowly is painful. So I thought, okay. And I got those 2 things in my mind. And I sat down and I started to realize that the work on yourself part was the toughest job that I would ever have to do. Because not only did I doubt the industry, I doubted myself. I had major belief issues. I had major self-worth issues. I had issues of who is going to listen to me? Why would anybody listen to me? Because I'm a nobody. And I struggled with that so much, with what was between my ears. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. How can I talk to, a successful person? And here I am living in some apartment and all of these challenges that I went through. And so I remember sitting down with my sister and we were talking about this. And I said, how do I work on myself? What does that mean? And she said, people have to want what you have. And I said, Bonnie, right now, I don't even want what I have. I didn't like the way I looked. I didn't like the way I felt. I didn't like where I lived. And so this whole process of changing me began. And that's when I knew that I had evolved. I was evolving into something more than I ever thought possible. And it was then for the first time that I realized that I had something great inside of me that I had always hidden and just never let it out. I never went after a dream. I never even allowed myself to dream because I didn't know that I was capable of having any more or doing any more than what I already had. And so I started looking at my life differently. I started thinking, okay, what would you want, Lynn, if you could have it all? And I started visioning what I would want to do if I could have every single thing in my life. And I had never allowed myself to do that. Not once. I settled. And I think so many people out there settle. We come into this life and we don't live our greatness and we don't let our light shine. We play it safe. We just do. We just exist. And when I started in this industry, that's where I was. And I think that's why I'm so passionate about this now. And I'm getting emotional because I know where I was. I liked nothing about my life. I had no experience. And I'm the person that Ian was talking about. And I talked to him for years and years and years. And I'm like, hey, how do I do this? What do I need to do? I need to believe in myself. I need people to want what I have. So I knew I had to start changing. So I had to not smoke, because how do you represent a nutrition company when you're a chain smoker? It doesn't work. Of course, that didn't help with the weight, because then I got fatter, and that's another whole story. But the point is, I began working on myself, trying to be the best person that I could be. The other thing that I did is I started dreaming, allowing myself to dream. And I realized for the first time that goals never got me anywhere. People always said, okay, write down your goals. If you write down a goal, you're much more likely to achieve it. You'll never achieve a goal if you don't put it on paper. And so I put them on paper. Every single year, I wrote my goals. I want to have more money. I want to have a better life. I want to be healthier. I want to be thinner. all of that. I wrote it every year. And I realized through this journey that the reason that I had never accomplished any of that is because I never truly believed that I would. I was going through the motions of what people said you had to do to be successful. And I also realized as I was evolving into a network marketer that I had major issues with this industry. And so, and by that I mean, I was not proud to be a network marketer. I was embarrassed. I would pray that nobody would ask me if this company was network marketing because somehow it would devalue the products. So my work on me began with what was between my ears. Number one, it was how I felt about myself, my self-worth. Number two was how I felt about the industry. You know, how do you promote an industry that you're not proud of? I led with products for 4.5 years. And the reason I did that was because it felt so good with everybody coming to me and saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. You're changing my life. I just love you. And I'm like, yay, me. And I'm all happy. But it wasn't building a business. And I was never talking about the business. So it was a journey. And I'm saying all of this, on this call today, because I know there's people here who are in the same spot that I was, where your belief level isn't high, where you struggle with your self-worth, where you struggle with fear. I was paralyzed with fear because I didn't know if I could do it. I just knew that I had to put my dreams above my fears if I was ever going to get out of the space that I was. And when I found network marketing and decided it was going to be my vehicle, I knew for the first time that I could create the future I wanted if I was willing to do the work. And the work began with working on me. So that became my journey, working on me and understanding the power of the industry and basically getting out of my own way, which is a name of a book that I actually published. Because I realized that I had played small my entire life. And I played small because of what was between my ears. And I can blame it on circumstances, and I can blame it on lack of education, and I can blame it on a bad marriage, and I can blame it on being a single mom. I can blame it on everything. But I played small because of what was here, because I never thought past the mediocrity of the life that I lived. And that's why I am so passionate about network marketing, because it's the only thing, it's the only way that somebody like me, an ordinary person with no skills, can create an extraordinary life and live the abundance that I now live. And so as I'm listening to Ian talk and I'm listening to the others talk, it's bringing me back to my beginning, to thinking about where I came from and how I've evolved from being a person that was afraid to talk to anybody, a person that I felt so bad when somebody rejected me. I mean, every time somebody said no, it brought up every issue of my childhood and everything that had ever happened, and it was all personal. And now I look back at that and I just smile and I'm like, this is business. This is business. I'm not there now. But back then, that's where I was. And it's what kept me stuck. And I'm sharing that because I want to unstick everybody here, everybody that believes they can't do it, everybody that's filled with fear. I want you to ask yourself, what's the worst thing that can happen to you by doing this, by really embracing this and deciding you're going to go for it? The worst thing is that you're going to grow yourself personally, you're going to grow yourself financially, you're going to step out of a comfort zone and move in the direction of your dreams. I mean, even just a little, because our dreams are not in our comfort zone. Here is your comfort zone, we're in here, but our dreams are out here. And I knew that. And every time I cracked the shell a little bit and I moved a little bit further out, I realized that I had taken one more step in working on me. So I'm giving that piece of advice because I never realized how profound working on me meant. I didn't even know what he was talking about when he said it. It was the best advice that anybody ever gave me, and that's the advice that I want to give you. I want you to be your best self, to believe in yourself. I want people to want what you have, because until you want what you have, nobody else is going to want it either. And it took me a while to figure that out. It took me about 4.5 years of playing around in this industry to figure that part out. And so then I knew I had to work on me. And the second piece of advice he gave me was to, if you're going to build it quickly. And then I remember to this day sitting down with Fred Cooper, who you're going to hear from in a little bit. And I said, Fred, okay, how do I get to where I can make a lot of money? Again, I didn't have an upline. I didn't have anybody to help me. How do I get to where I can make, $250,000 a year, something big, like the big earners do? And he said, yeah, that's easy. You find 4 people who want to make a minimum of $50,000 a year, and you help each one of those people get to there. And that'll take you to the top. And I'm like, really? 4 people? How hard can that be? And in my mind, because I don't know any better, I'm thinking, I live in Central Florida. There's probably 18 million people here. And that means I can get, 2 from the north, 2 from the south. I'm in, and so I'm feeling really good. Like I'm just going to go home and I'm going to find them. And it wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. And I was listening to all this advice from people who said, oh, it's a 3-foot rule. You talk to anybody within 3 feet of you and you stick them to a wall, you see who sticks. And I had all this stuff going on in my mind and all the training I was trying to get until I finally realized that it was me who was going to choose my people. It wasn't people, just anybody. I didn't want just anybody. I spent my whole life in corporate America, and I wasn't always happy with who they picked to work with me. And I'm sure there's a lot of you that can relate to that. And I realized all of a sudden that I was putting together my power team, that I was going to choose the people that I wanted to work with. I wasn't going to accept just anybody. And all of a sudden, my posture in this changed. And then I read a book that absolutely impacted me more than anything that has happened since I've been in network marketing. And it was by John Maxwell. And it was the 17 Indisputable Laws of Teamwork. And as I'm reading that book, I'm highlighting and I'm messaging all these things. And he said in the book, the first thing you've got to do is get your dream. And if you have a Mount Everest sized dream, you have to make sure you put together a Mount Everest sized team. And so I wrote my vision, and that's a whole other talk, but I wrote a whole vision statement of where I was going to be in 2 years, drew my line in the sand, said failure is not an option. This is my journey. This is what I am going to do. Failure, again, is not an option. I didn't care who said no anymore. I knew that this was my answer. And so I went out there looking for these 4 people. And I read this book, and it said, again, if you have a Mount Everest-sized dream, which I did, you have to put together a Mount Everest-sized team. And it said, look at the size of your team, or look at the people on your team, and ask yourself, are the people on my team going to take me to this Mount Everest-sized dream? Do I have a Mount Everest-sized team? And that was so profound to me because I looked at the people I was surrounding myself with and the people I was trying to drag along on my team because I had a dream for them bigger than theirs. And I realized that I didn't have a Mount Everest-sized team. And in the book, it said, if you don't have a Mount Everest-sized team to get you to your dream, you have 2 choices. One is you give up your dream, and I wasn't willing to do that. Or 2, you find a new team. And that, to me, was where my complete clarity and understanding of this industry began. So what I did is I wrote a letter to everybody that was on my team. I just wrote this very generic letter to my entire team. And I said, I have a Mount Everest-sized dream. In 2 years, this is where I am going to be. I'm going to be living at the beach. I am going to be free. I'm going to be taking my grandkids on cruises. I am going to live the life that I was put here to live. I'm going to wake up every day and I'm going to do exactly what I want to do when time and money don't dictate my day. That's what I'm going to do. And I let people know that I was putting together a Mount Everest-sized team and that I was looking for a select group of people. And that posture is what allowed me to take my business to the top, because I no longer cared if anybody said yes or if anybody said no. I still don't care, but I didn't care way back then. And I would say to people, this is where I'm going to be in 2 years. And if they started whining and saying, I don't know if I can find 4 people, or I don't know, I would be like, with all due respect, this isn't for you. I wish you good luck on your journey. And I would just move and move and move because my job was to find those 4 people and I needed a Mount Everest sized team. And when people weren't sure, I'd say, well, this train is moving with or without you. So you can either hop on or you can get out of the way. And again, everybody looked at me differently when I changed my posture. And I changed my posture when I wrote a vision statement, number one, that told me where I was going to be. When I read this book that told me to get there, I needed a Mount Everest sized team, and I realized I didn't have one. And I changed my posture when I drew a line in the sand and accepted the fact and claimed the fact that this was my future, that this is the most powerful industry on the planet, and that it was my vehicle to create the life that God put me here to live. So that is my journey in short. I could spend days talking about this because I came from nowhere. And it's so interesting to me because when I talk to people on my team and I talk to them about posture, they say, well, Lynn, it's easy for you to have posture because, you've made so much money in this business. It's easy for you to have posture. And I said, you're not getting it. I had posture in the beginning as soon as I claimed what I was going to do. That is how I got here. It's not the reverse. You don't get to be a chairperson too and then start your posture. My posture started when I drew my line in the sand, when I wrote my vision statement, when I decided that I love this industry, when I worked on myself, decided I was worthy, and got out of my own way. So as I'm listening to all of this today, and I'm listening to everybody talk about the amazing products that we have, I'm feeling so blessed because I'm filled with, oh my gosh, it couldn't be any better for us. We've got the best products. Nobody even knows we're here. And the timing of this couldn't be any better either. And I'm just so grateful that I made the decision to come to ARIIX. I am so grateful that I decided my future was worth fighting for. I am so grateful that I feel like this is just the beginning for me and that I get to surround myself with amazing people like every single person that's on this call. I listened to Ian. I'm going back to you, Ian, because I just love you so much and we've known each other for such a long time. And I remember when we started, and not only didn't believe in me, it was all of you that helped me to start to believe in myself and get out of my own way and realize that I was worth more and I could do more. And now I know that it's about all of us together lifting, as we're climbing out of where we are. We had a bad economy, things are a mess. This industry is so powerful, this opportunity is so powerful. And as we're climbing out, we've got to lift others. And that's the thing about ARIIX, about this plan, about this company, about this industry that I absolutely love. Because I can still be a caretaker if I want to, but I want to empower people. I want people to know that if I can do this, they can do it. I have nothing special. Again, I was 50 years old, dead broke, 50 pounds overweight when I started in this industry. And that was almost 18 years ago. And I now live a life that most people only dream of. And still, when I say network marketing to people, they'll go, oh my gosh, I can't even believe you got sucked into one of those, and they have all these issues. And I'm like, I'm so happy to be one of the 1%ers or 2%ers that understand the value of this industry and the blessed lives that we all get to live just by being a part of it. So I have a lot of things that I could say. None of this is what I planned on saying today, but it just came from Ian's talk and from everything I've heard. So I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to be able to share. Number one, I want to say thank you to all of you for showing, your commitment by being, on this call today and being a part of this, and all of us together with all these amazing products and the amazing timing and opportunity that we have. Shame on us if we don't grab this and take it to the world and help take ARIIX to $1 billion. That's our job. They've given us everything else. They gave us the best products. You're going to hear about the comp plan, the management team. We adore them. And most importantly, they adore us. And that's something that I was never used to in corporate America either. We have everything. We have to do the work on ourselves, on our belief in the industry. We've got belief in the products. We've got to know we can do it. We need business plans. We need to take all of this big energy that we have from this event today, and we need to turn this into momentum as we move forward in 2016 and go out there and really not just stick your toes in the door, which so many people are doing. They just crack the door and they give it a shot. Our job is to kick the door down. Let's do it together. Thank you so much. I don't know how much time I'm supposed to speak, but I want to turn it over to Fred, and I'm just so excited to be a part of this. God bless everybody and your businesses, and let's do this. I'm done.
Lynn, that was incredible. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm serious. That message, you have no idea. The chat box has exploded. My text messages have exploded, and you struck a chord with so many, and that's your gift. And for those of you that don't know Lynn, I just want to tell you, her accolades are amazing. Her track record is amazing, but she's an awesome person. We've become friends. She's an incredible mom. We've been on trips together. She is the funniest person to laugh with. Go out on the dance floor with her. She's a hoot. And then to hear her speak about self-doubt and all of these things, it just makes it so human. And Lynn, that's your gift. And that's why you're a founder. And that's why your message was so incredible today. And thank you so much. And I know she turned off her speakers and camera and things, but that was just incredible. And now, Todd, I don't know if I'm waiting for Todd to text me back because we have so many awesome people watching. I am going to bring up the one and only, the CEO of ARIIX. Hang on really quickly because I've got some funny things to tell you. And Fred, I think I just got you promoted, or I promoted someone else named Fred. So if you want to turn your camera on and your speakers on, and Ian, but I got to give these guys some grief really quickly. Okay, so
here we go. What's up?
Hey.
We got Cooper.
Hey.
Hey, how are you? What's in?
Okay, I'm really good. Now, everybody, this is going to be really quick, but I have to do this for the both of you. Ian, we already talked about how awesome he was and brilliant he is. And Fred really goes out on a limb being side by side with Ian, because Ian is the first person in Fred's life that is coming very, very close to knocking him off the smartest person in the room
Not even
category.
close. That's right. Believe it. Whether it's true or not, that's okay.
Because statistically, if all of us knew over 1.5 million people, that would be the only way we would ever be able to question whether or not Fred Cooper was the smartest person we knew. And Fred is the one that will tell you that, because that is how arrogant he is about it.
You're supposed to make me sound good here, Woodson.
No. Let me tell you. Dr. Fred Cooper, the CEO of ARIIX, he is really awesome. He's incredible. He is brilliant. This was his brainchild. He invented the pay plan. It is patented. He is an awesome dad. I'm friends with his wife. He's a great husband. He's got 4 brilliant, above average children. But let me tell you some fun stuff about him. Fred was the original Doogie Howser. When he was 12 years old, he was so fed up with school that he actually passed the GED, so he didn't have to go back to school anymore. He passed it and was able to walk away, and his mother said, "You need more social skills. Get your butt back to school."
That was true.
And that is true, is it not?
That's true.
Your mom is awesome. So all of his social grace came from his mother saying, "You need some help." And I'm going to give y'all a Southern lesson. Help is a whole different word than help. He needed some help. So I think that is so funny. And if you ever see him at an event and you want to take a selfie with him, just understand that he goes out of his way to make your selfies look ridiculous. So just be prepared because his selfies, we need to just start the Fred selfie movement because it's hysterical what you do. And then lastly, here's your fun fact for Fred that you probably didn't know. He was a stage entertainer at Six Flags. I know it was an amusement park.
Six Flags. It's called Lagoon out here.
Are you serious? I've been past there. Okay, he was a stage entertainer at an amusement park. I think that is the best. So here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. For those of you that have been with us all day, I want to thank you, congratulate you. But this is the big coup de grace. This is the big finish. We're going to talk about ARIIX as a business. We are going to talk really about what makes our compensation plan do what it does. And the title of this dynamic duo presentation is Fashion Advice. So I am all ears. We're all yours. You two are amazing. Fred, you rock. We love you. Everybody loves you. And thank you for just being so much fun, the both of you.
Thanks, Woodson. I think, but I am definitely not giving you the money that you requested for my intro. Thank you very much.
Okay,
No problem.
I'm going to lead this one off for the first couple minutes, if that's okay, Dr. Cooper.
Okay.
Okay, so
I'm a little nervous about this. No telling what this Yahoo sets up, but we'll go through it.
that's right. So Woodson, can you verify that you can see my slides? Because once again, I can't see my slides. So I'm going to rely on you and
Yes,
you're
good to go.
slides.
Yep, we see them.
Okay, good. So
We got fashion.
you're looking at me. Look at this. In Asia, people would say that my hair and okay, you know what? I'm not a fashion guru by any means.
I'm rich, so I don't need to be a fashion guru by any means.
So I'm doubly cursed. But if I was, or if I was looking for advice, who do you think that I should go to for that? So let's go to the next slide, right? On the one hand, we've got the possibility of all of the beauty magazines in the world and the fashion magazines. Heaven knows my wife is kind of my fashion guru. She knows all that because she reads all that. But would you trust or take your advice from the following? Let's look at the next slide. Would you consider this to be a good group of people to get your advice from? Obviously, I think you would all come back and say no, right? Okay, follow me on this one. The next slide, math. If you're looking for help on a math quiz, okay, are you going to go from Albert Einstein? Or are you going to go from these guys? Next slide. Okay, obviously.
It's tough, huh? Because you can't see your slides, so where should she be right now?
Well, hopefully we're looking at Joe Dirt and his friends.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
He's coming. This
Okay.
this is awesome. Wait a second. He's pulling up right now.
Gotcha. Okay, so I don't think you want to
You
take
guys have to follow
advice from Joe Dirt. And this is no stereotyping whatsoever. Okay, a little bit of stereotyping.
Little bit.
Okay, the next slide. Beauty tips, right? If I wanted to look beautiful and make sure I get rid of my unibrow, right, I should probably take advice from, next slide, please, all of the myriad of different magazines, periodicals, etc., that are out there to help me improve my beauty.
I'd just talk to girls that look like that. If it was me, but okay.
Well, that's even better.
Yeah.
Or are you going to take advice from the next slide? Okay, let's take a look at
All right,
those.
hang on. You guys this is so great. You have so much animation. Hang on.
What do you think?
Bill, I need you.
Who are you going to take this from? I'll take it that you don't want the guy with the arm and the.
I like the sexy armpit.
Yeah, I'm a little over that myself. So
Okay, hang on. We're coming up to the sexy art. Wait just a minute.
Oh.
Hang on. I'm doing everything I can.
Bill, I just want you to just slide through these really, really, really quick. Weight loss, okay? If you're going to look for weight loss advice, are you going to ask from the pros, the people who have done it? They've been there, they're fit, they're healthy. Next slide. Or do you want weight advice from these people who look like they enjoy, $5 Big Daddy pizzas by the pizzaful? I don't know about you guys, but I bring this up because I'm telling you, when you live in China for 4 years and you meet all of the people who claim that they are gurus, they're experts in compensation, they're experts in MLM, in the industry.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, if I had a dime for every person who told me, I am the expert of blah, blah, I'm telling you, it just flows, guys. You don't understand. I would be next to Bill Gates because they're just a dime a dozen. My question for you is, why in the world then do we allow ourselves to be influenced, when we do get influenced in the compensation plan, by people who are out there to make a buck off of us? Think about that. You've got somebody from Jeunesse, somebody from USANA, somebody from, you name the company, and they come and say, well, ARIIX doesn't pay as much as we do, or ARIIX is not a good company for whatever reason. And we listen to them. Number one, they've never been in ARIIX. Number two, they've never tried to build a business in ARIIX.
Don't even know it.
They don't even know it. And yet they're motivated to try to swindle you or convince you to join their company because they want to make a buck. So my question for everybody today to consider before we get into our information is, who do you really think that you should trust or could trust when it comes to this industry and getting paid? The guy who wants to make $1 off of you, or let's hit the next slide, or someone who has an undergraduate degree in finance, psychology, economics, communications, and business strategy. They also have a PhD that was in the following areas: business administration and operational optimization through statistical and financial modeling, blah, blah, blah. I've read the first 2 pages of the
Dissertation?
and I'll tell you, I had to pull out a dictionary for the first half of it. I said, I give, uncle, I cry uncle, okay? Let's keep going. Hit the down button. 17-year university professor at the University of Utah, teaching statistics, financial modeling, business administration. Not only that, I mean, it's one thing to be smart and good at numbers and finance and statistics. It's entirely another to say, to be invited into this industry as a consultant, to then go on and provide consulting services specific to compensation to over 70 different companies, including many of the big names that I'm sure you're very familiar with. Not only that, they established his own IT services company that provided backbone industry software for over 30 companies in the industry. Sold that off, ended up becoming the president of one of the largest MLM companies in the nation. Who of those 2 types of people do you think you should be trusting when it comes to how do I get paid and which is going to be a better pay for my income? Obviously, I think it's clear, like the examples before, who we listen to kind of tells kind of who we are, right? I mean, if I enjoy having a big old pot belly and I don't want to do anything about it, I'll probably listen to my friends who also have pot bellies and say, hey, go drink a cold one and eat your bratwurst and live until you're 50, But if I'm friends with Deanna and I choose to be friends with Deanna Lotson, chances are going to be changing what I believe. So I guess what I'm inviting everybody here today to consider is, regardless of what you've ever heard about being paid in this industry and which company pays the most or which company's better, blah, 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 try to put that all in the past and consider that in front of you, you have Dr. Cooper, who is everything that that I've just gone through, who kind of knows better than anybody out there on what payout really is. So without further ado, guys, I'm going to turn it over to Fred. I've worked with him for over 10 years now, and I can tell you that I'm still learning from what he has to teach me on compensation. I've learned a lot. I would say that I'm catching up there as far as it goes, to toot my own little horn, but there's still a lot that I don't know, and there's still a lot that I do continue to learn. So without further ado, I'm going to turn over to Fred, who's going to give you a little introduction about himself. But guys, just keep in mind, he knows what he's talking about.
Thanks, Ian. See, now that's an introduction that it makes it worth paying for that boy. I want to tell you something. Today, I really wanted to spend some time with you going through all of the different marketing bullcrap things that you hear all the time that Ian and I have become so familiar with that we're going to walk you through so that when you're done, You won't remember 90% of what we say, but what you will know is, hey, I'm not going to be tricked in this industry. And we're not going to base it on great tricks of marketing and wording. It's going to be on the mathematical facts associated with compensation plans, because every compensation plan can be calculated to determine what it pays out. Now, if you'll move to my little slide, if you are, after all that introduction, you got to keep in mind, while it may sound all well and good how great I am, I'll tell you what, if my wife had her way, if you'll go through those slides, Bill, first of all, she'd have me look something much more like Tom Cruise. And then if she could get me to look like Tom Cruise, well, I kind of do have the body of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I got to say. So I would have the body of Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'd have Bill Gates' wallet and all of his money in there, and you'd wrap me up with the brain of, well, she's okay with my brain, so that's okay. In fact, sometimes it's like, I don't want to hear about it anymore. So, okay, and my brain. And actually, she usually refers to it as my forehead.
Yeah, fair enough.
If you could put all that together, if you'll go to the next slide, we have a composite of what would be her ideal man.
Perfection in the flesh.
Now, Woodson, I didn't hear you laugh, so you must not be to that slide yet.
Oh no, I'm right here. I muted myself.
No, okay, well, make sure you don't mute it up. Here's the point of this. Everybody wants the best of everything and doesn't want the worst of everything. When we first got started out, my wife she hates money because she gets rid of it by spending it, but she doesn't want to be poor. That's great. But she also wants me home at 5 o'clock.
Huh?
They don't go together. If you want wealth, you've got to work for it and earn it. So she had to realize, man, I can't get the best of everything. It's got to be some type of a balance. So likewise, everybody wants to be first. Everyone wants to claim they are the best, the biggest, the smartest. So if you go to the next slide for me, Bill, I want you to view this like a relay race. If you start I do not run. You do not get a body like this working out. But if I did exercise, I can tell you exactly what happens at any marathon. When you all line up, go through the next slide, you'll see hundreds of people lined up, ready to go. But everybody wants the limelight and the front stage. So if you go to the next slide at the starting line, if you want that moment in the sun, you are going to immediately start sprinting as fast as you can run.
Yep.
Because then you can say, look, I'm in first place on this marathon, and all your side family can take a picture. So if I were running in the Boston Marathon on the next slide, you can see I would dead sprint all the way to where I was the first and in first place.
So keep scrolling down until you see Fred in his
that first
first
place.
place position.
But compensation plans are not based on first one instant being in first. They are based on a long-term residual pay that after you've done the work and you look back for 5 years, you say, had I joined any other network marketing company, would I be making more money? Would I have to be doing more work or running through more hoops to be able to maintain my income? That is your perspective. Every single compensation plan that I have ever heard of, at one point in time, can claim something wonderful about their plan that sounds very, very impressive. But, as we say in the next slide, when it comes to compensation plan, ARIIX not only does very well, but we are, in my opinion, that we plan to substantiate today with some facts, is the marathon winning #1 independently reviewed compensation plan in the entire industry. And it became that way because when we started, we took all of our experience and marketing research that, here's a little known fact, Ian and I both compiled together, and we got all of that information together and took all the great features that we saw, eliminated all the negative fine print items that you see.
Hoops,
Yeah, things that make you jump through, and put together a comp plan that now has 3 for sure that we filed, and we are imminently close to filing for a 4th patent on our inflation adjustment for pricing. So let's go through these and look at how ARIIX stacks up to our competition. Now, listen to me. There is only one way to truly evaluate which compensation plan pays out the best. You can look at little instances and little isolated cases, which we're going to go to, but the only way to be fair from everybody is to base it on sales dollars, not points, not commissionable volume, not all this garbage you hear. It is how much in dollars are paid out to our field relative to every dollar that comes into the company. Now, if you pay out too little, the reps starve to death and they go broke. If, on the other hand, you pay out too much, the company goes broke and can't pay its bills. So it has got to be a balance. But the company that is operationally the most efficient is the company that can afford to pay out the most in compensation plan, which will be the #1 company in terms of how much it pays off. I got to tell you, a little frustration point. I had somebody actually come up to me one day and said, well, everybody claims that they've got the #1 paying out compensation plan on the planet. My exact response to them was twofold. 1, they're liars. Or 2, they are innocently deceiving you because they only believe what someone has told them and they've never actually calculated it. So I still stand with people that are even our spies on this webinar today, listening to what ARIIX says. You bring your little compensation plan my way, and I will be happy to compare every single feature of it, what it pays out, and when we're done, ARIIX will pay out more than any network marketing company. So, Bill, you should be on the payout slide that says, at over 50%, we are #1. But it gets better. We even took the liberty of going out and calculating for you other people's compensation plans in the industry. So next slide, Bill, and I hope you're looking at a linear slide of all of our competitors.
Yep. So in this, you've got
Just exploded.
What's that?
I said people's heads just exploded.
Well, let Ian go through it because he did all of the research for you on
Okay.
company payouts, and it's from their own documentation. Am I dying? I'm lying.
No, I'm sick.
Okay.
I'm sick and tired of people saying Jeunesse pays $1 million.
Oh my gosh. I can't take it.
Organo Gold. They've got 10 people in the top 100 payout. Yep. It drives me crazy. Well, did you know that any of the companies that is in question, we can calculate exactly what they pay out. So here on this slide right here, Bill, you should see ARIIX at the top right there with a 51% mark. #2, you've got Marinda. Congratulations.
Marinda is good.
48%.
Yeah.
That ain't bad.
That ain't bad.
It's not 51, but hey, it's close. LifeVantage at 47.85, and clear at the bottom, we've got Herbalife at 29.7. So you're saying, wait a second, ARIIX is paying 75% higher than Herbalife and some of those people who are the bottom dwellers? And my answer to that is the truth. Our average, we pay over 25% above the industry average. And to Fred's point, everybody claims that they're all paying 50%, that it's a 50-50 split. Guys, there's only one out there that is paying a 51%, and that is ARIIX. So I'm going to ask the next natural question that I'm sure you're asking. Please go to the next slide. How does anyone really know what these people actually are paying? Okay, so
We know.
We know because
We calculate it.
Fred taught me.
Yep.
There's 3 categories of companies. The first is a publicly traded company. So if we're on the slide, it should say if they're publicly traded, then they will be announcing their payout every single year. They've got 10Ks, 10Qs.
4Ks, 4Qs. Where's Jeff when you need him?
Where's Jeff when you need him? Right there to the right, you can see a little link for our previous company. Edgar Online provides all of this information for free. It is verifiable. And what you're looking for is something that they call distributor
Incentive.
incentives. And that is a line that you can find on there. You can take that, divide it by the total sales dollars that they've generated for the year, and it will give you a percentage. Some of them show you the percentage, some just show you the sales dollars. Let's go to the next slide, which says, here's a list of publicly traded companies and their latest payout. So as of 2014 10Ks, which is their annual review, LifeVantage, congratulations, 47.85. USANA at 44%, Nu Skin 43.75, Manitech 39.6, Nature Sunshine 37.10, Herbalife 29.7.
Hey, and I'm not kidding you. I had somebody tell me, I had a rep who was trying to talk one of our reps into joining Herbalife because theirs paid more.
Yeah, they paid more to the one dude who had 20 years ago.
In one instance, under one circumstance, one person, I couldn't take it. So of course I offered to get on the phone with him, and he didn't ever want to talk to me. But oh well.
They rarely do. Guys, for what it's worth, we have an outstanding challenge that we give to any company out there who thinks that they pay more. And the challenge is something along the lines of this. If you think whether it's qualitative or quantitatively better than our compensation plan, we welcome you to set up a debate. And we only have one request, and that is that debate is publicly recorded. We can make it public, and we'll challenge the CEO of any company to talk to the CEO of ARIIX and debate on their terms which company they think is better. You're not going to get it. Because we've tried.
Right.
Nobody ever comes.
But even to those line items that call it distributor incentives on the next line, Bill, or the next slide, that annual statement of distributor incentives really, even in that line item, they can trick you into how much they're paying out.
That's right, because most of those companies are including other expenses as a distributor incentive, which means that their actual dollar payout from the commissions is probably a whole lot lower.
So, Bill, if you'll go to the slide that shows the pie charts of these expenses, Ian's going to walk you through how it can be a little subjective, so shall we say.
Sure. So I'm going to start with, okay, they say that the distributor incentives is the blue portion right there. And certainly that is. But how much of that actually comes from commissions? Well, if Fred decides to go on a trip to go talk to people in North Carolina, would that be lumped into a representative meeting expenses? In most companies, it is.
Although it would be an incentive, I would hope, that we go. It's a little misleading to say somehow that's pay in your pocket, wouldn't you say?
And the chairs that we're sitting on and the internet that we're paying for to be part of this webinar could also be construed as an other expense that is directly benefiting the distributors. And so for most companies who say they pay 48, 49%, they would lump all of that together. So what you're not really seeing is what is the actual commission percentage payout to the reps in dollars. It is not necessarily the percentage that they're portraying.
So hopefully that makes sense. It's like, oh, it's kind of tricky. A benefit to the distributor does not necessarily mean a commission paid to a distributor. Now, if we give you a gold watch, I think we'd all argue, yeah, okay, a gold watch is probably it's not cash, but it is definitely a bit nice incentive. But listening to Deanna talk about product,
and the chair that she's sitting on and the internet she's using, I think that's a bit of a stretch, but it gets in there.
It gets in there.
Okay? So, next. So there you go. Next slides. We should be on if companies make guarantees. The second type of companies that are out there that are not publicly traded, but we still know what their payout is, are the companies that give guarantees. And we can find out their actual payout algebraically. This is something that Fred taught me. So for example, on the next slide, and Woodson, if you can see this, it should say an example of Jeunesse.
And today we're picking on Jeunesse because, we can pick on any company. All of them do this stuff.
Yeah.
But then they turn around and try to say they pay more, and then we just go in orbit.
We go in orbit.
We're going orbit.
And Jeunesse, for what it's worth, they're kind of the up and coming. They want to try to, make
show that they're so great. And so, of course, they say, and the funny part is on them, they don't even hide they're capped.
No, they say right there. It says, Jeunesse guarantees payout is capped at 60% of total CV. So for those of us who don't know what the heck a CV is commissionable volume. Basically, it's the proportion of product sales that count towards commissions and bonuses.
So next slide.
Next slide. If you've got $100 of sales dollars in Jeunesse, that's roughly going to be somewhere around 65 commission volume points. Now, they said that their payout is capped at 60% of CV. Let's keep scrolling down. That means that for $100 of sales, the payout is no greater than 60% of the 65 points that they give you. Well, do the simple math. 60% times 65 is $39. That means that they're going to pay up to $39 in commissions off of $100 of sales, which means that their highest possible payout is
39%. Oh, but wait, Bill, go to the next slide. It gets better. Ian said a word it didn't really, you probably didn't even hear. What's that? What? Squeal.
People are people are going nuts. I'm letting the slides catch up with what you're doing. So 60% equals $39 out of 100.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Because they're basing it on points and not on the sales dollars. If you remember what Fred said, the only fair way to look at payout is based on sales dollars. You got $100 that come in. How much is going out towards commissions? In Jeunesse, it's $39 going out to commissions.
But nobody reads the fine print of 60% of commissionable volume. They just read, Jeunesse pays 60%. ARIIX only plays 50%. And 60 is bigger than 50, so guess what? It's got to be.
They got to be
But
paying more.
You don't even read the rest that says, oh my gosh, you're tricking me.
Yeah.
And it gets doubly tricky if you'll go to the next slide, Bill. Because Ian used the word up to. Up to is the devil himself in mathematics. Because in mathematics, up to means less than or equal to. I have up to 10 children. It makes you think I'm Mormon with 100 million kids. But the reality is, okay, I still have a lot. I got 4. But 4 does not violate up to. So, shoot, what ARIIX should start saying is, we pay up to 100%. Now, we don't.
We pay 51.
But I will pay up to it. It's just so deceptive.
Yeah.
But because I use that bigger up to word, I get it. Okay? This type of a guarantee or cap, if you will, it doesn't sound good when you say, hey, we cap you or we give you a haircut. So what we don't say is a cap. You don't say a house is small. You say a house is cozy. You don't say it needs work. You say, oh,
It's
you
a
can get fixer-upper for some sweat equity, right? Yeah. Okay. Guarantee sounds much, much better, right?
Than a cap. So on the next slide, let's get there. There's a whole list of companies that have these guarantees. There's Mirinda.
They love to say the word guarantee. Ian went through and found them all. Look, it's
Right
on their
there.
own site.
It says Mirinda, they guarantee to pay 53%.
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed. Zango, they guarantee 50%. Monavi, well, what's left of them guaranteed 50%. Okay, but now you'll notice that below there, I've got a couple other companies with a less than or equal to sign. That is the up to
Up
company.
to company.
Okay.
That's the devil right there.
So Elysian Health Sciences up to 50%. Organo up to 50%.
If I put it in plain talk English, we only pay out 40% at Organo Gold, but we're willing to pay up to 50. But if we didn't know what the heck we were doing and our comp plan is getting gamed, we will cut it off at 50 and give you a haircut.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying, but it doesn't sound good. So we say guarantee up to 50.
Even Melaleuca,
Yep.
they guarantee a 51% payout.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but guess what? When you drop $100 in Melaleuca, that gets you 60 points. So you times 60% times 51, and their actual payout is 30%. So guys,
Suckers!
look at the actual payout on the right, okay? This is the actual percentage payout. This is the only fair way to compare with ARIIX. You're asking yourself, well, wait a second. How do I know that this is true? We have a spreadsheet for you that we can send out to whoever wants it that has the links to third-party websites that you can verify and guarantee all of the information that we provided on these comparison charts. So you say,
You don't even trust us.
don't trust me?
No.
Click the little link. It'll load up and say, well, I'll be dipped. Look at this. Elysian Health Sciences, they guarantee a payout of up to 50%. And their price per $100 is 82 points. So you don't even have to believe me. The math is right there, guys. But what this comes down to is when people say that they're number one, because everyone likes to say that
Everyone wants to lead the relay race. Everybody wants their moment in the sun.
they might have an upfront bonus like a Jeunesse. They pay $250 for every time I enroll. And yes, I'm using the word enroll, and they're going to get in trouble for that eventually. Mark my words. But every time I enroll somebody who activates, I get a $250 bonus up front. Fred, dude, that's got to be better than ARIIX. What you're not noticing, though, is that you get paid horribly everything after that. So if I was in Jeunesse today and I could sponsor 1,000 people, I'd love life. But tell you what, there is no time freedom in that. There is no residual income coming towards me in that. And that's not me picking on Jeunesse. That's just a fact of their compensation plan. Okay.
So now you can see why, if we're on the right side, Bill, and you caught up with us, we are the #1 compensation plan in the world. It is why we are known as the opportunity company.
Yep.
Because we don't use a bunch of marketing. Shoot, if we had another hour, we got another million slides we could go through with you on bad math and things that people do to trick you and make you believe their number is bigger than ours.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, you are dealing with a company that is upfront that says, we are the #1 paying compensation plan. We stand proudly behind it. Anyone who tells you otherwise is tricking you with marketing schemes and words so that they can say, look at the picture. I was leading the marathon. You can't deny it. And you get tricked and say, well, he's got a picture. He is in first.
Yeah.
I just don't bother to show you that the starting line was 10 feet behind me. So to that end, and at 1:55 is the greatest miracle of all. We are going to finish on time.
Yeah.
It's killing me to give up the mic. I waited all day for my turn. I had even more slides than we could have gone through, and it went overtime. Doggone it. But if nothing else you learn at the end, know what Ian and I both know very, very well. After you've seen it 100 million times and you've heard the marketing plans, shoot, Ian was just telling me the other day of a comp plan that sounded so impressive, even he started to kind of go, wow, they do beat us on everything, because they tried to mirror all our numbers and then put one little number in them that said, oh, and by the way, we guarantee it'll only be 50% of CV, which then again cut it way down from the ARIIX compensation plan.
If they would have gone by the actual rules that they said and made you to believe, it would have been 140% payout. But with one little line of we
cap it.
guarantee and cap it at 50%, it's a 40% payout.
So in other words, here's a haircut every single paycheck of over 2/3. But doggone, well, not quite 2/3.
Yeah.
But doggone it, feel good about yourself because all our numbers are better than ARIIX's.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it was designed just for that purpose.
Yeah, Elysian Health Sciences.
Elysian
Nice
Health
job.
Sciences. Nice job, Elysian. You tricked some people. Money to the power of the people.
Power to the people.
Okay, we're done. We'll go on all night getting skeptical on this, Whitson, but we better turn it back over to you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, don't go anywhere. We're going to wrap this up together. And I want to invite Bill and Todd on with me. I want to thank Bill for driving that incredible, brilliant, I can't even find the words, Academy
Bill.
Award PowerPoint. And Bill did a great job.
Seriously.
Thank you, Bill.
And seriously, Bill and Todd, quit being weird. Put your cameras on because we're winding this up. And having said that, I want to thank everybody for joining us. We actually broke things today with your high definition, awesome Jove video. We had even more people pile on. And Todd, and people have been listening to me all day. All y'all know how much I love you. That last presentation boggled my mind. My phone is smoking from everybody wanting, is this being recorded? So we'll get this recording out.
And Fred, we've got a bunch of people wanting that PowerPoint. I'm assuming we can share.
Of course.
Yep.
There is no such thing as libel or slander if it is the truth.
So for those of you that are texting over, just text your email, and it may be tomorrow before we get some of these PowerPoints out to you, but we'll get the PowerPoints out via email, Dropbox sometime during the day tomorrow.
Nice job, Todd. Thank you, sir.
Woodson, I want to thank you personally. You did a fantastic job, as always, hosting. You're amazing. Ian, you're remarkable. Ian, will you announce your number? I've got a bunch of people asking me for your number again. Will you just go ahead?
He's married.
I don't. That was a well done. That was a chance to see if they were really paying attention there.
They were.
Okay.
Everybody, this is what it takes to get it done. The fact that you were here with us on a Saturday means you got what it takes. But nobody ever floated to the top of Mount Everest. I mean, Lynn, I cannot tell you how much you spoke to our hearts, but I'm going to tell you, no one ever drifted up to the top of a mountain. The only thing that drifts is downstream, and it's not good. So if you want to make it, you got to get out and do it. Go ahead.
What about Noah?
Well, that was biblical. He was a prophet, and God was involved. So that is the exception to the
It's
rule.
kind of once in a
Lifetime.
ever. Yeah. So,
And Fred, this is why I make fun of you, and you need to work on your social media.
oh, good times. All right.
You
Thanks,
need to go
everyone.
to
Hey,
Thanks,
thanks to
everybody.
everybody out there around the country. It was an astonishing day. We peaked out at our max at 250, and we're still sitting with 193 locations 4 hours into this. Don't forget, everything's rescheduled for March 11th and 12th. Fred, you and Ian are set to be there on March 11th and 12th back in Greensboro, North Carolina.
That's the plan.
Fantastic. I know Dr. Strand is all set. Aaron Decker and Ginger, they actually live in a cabin out in the woods of Michigan. They don't have high-speed internet. That was the only reason. She was the only other speaker that didn't make it with us today. They couldn't go live, but I've been texting with them all day. They are confirmed also to be in Greensboro at that time frame. Dr. Ginger's wonderful. We missed her. I know a lot of you guys were here to see her today. But Woodson, as always, you did the most amazing job, and we appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And Bill, you are the best executive producer ever. And Bill,
Thank you, Bill.
you're going to be presenting live in March as well. And Ginger and Aaron, hey! And I know everybody can't wait to see them live in March too. So we will sign off.
Fantastic.
See you.
Thank you, guys. Everybody
Thank you,
have a
guys.
great week.
Be blessed.